Okay, so just before this video actually starts, I'd like to just quickly mention that I'll be putting before and after images on my blog and a little description about how I did each effect, and they'll be on my blog at matthewpummel.a2media.blogspot.co.uk. So yeah, enjoy the video. Okay, so this is just a short video of me explaining the effects I've used and how I've used them in Adobe After Effects for my music video Polarize. The first effect is the decolouring on the bottle and the background and the black and white effect. It's used twice in this video, but I'll show you this one example. So I've taken a screenshot here of my Adobe's After Effects window, and the way I made this was by using two layers, as you can see down here. The bottom layer is the background layer, and that is the entirely black and white layer. And then the top layer, I used an effect called Leave Colour, and this allows me to select a colour, which in this case is orange from the bottle, and use a tolerance to detolerate a bit, so any colours that are similar to that orange it'll still leave, and the edge softness so it doesn't give a sharp, horrible, pixelated effect. And the amount of decolour means how much it's actually decolour. I use this and it actually leaves the colour that you want. It does what it says. It leaves the colour, the background layer is all black, and then jobs are good. And this pretty much is just Adobe After Effects does it for you. It does what it says on the tin. You just choose the colour you want, and it's the most basic effect you can do, but it gives off a really nice professional effect. Secondly, we go on to the particle effect. This is for the drums, with Owen playing the drums there. I use CC Particle World for this effect, as you can see down here. The way I made this was by changing the birth rate of the particles every time that he hits the drum kit. So I'd put the birth rate on here, gradually fade it off each time he removes the stick, and then again here when he hits it for the second time. I changed the physics and the producer locations and transformed it to make it look like it's on the drum. So I pushed it in for a bit more depth and I rotated it a little bit, and I also changed the gravity on the physics and the floor, which I made bounce, so the particles bounce off, which is quite a nice effect it gives, so it looks like it's actually bouncing on the drum kit, and the longevity, which shows how long the particles are there for, so I make them die off before the next particles are shown. That's basically it for that one. It was very much just getting the actual small nitty-gritty bits of the particle and the positioning of it and the physics of it right, but once you had them right, it was quite a simple effect. And again, I use the orange to stick with the colour of the drink. So the next shot is, the next effect is the Scatterize effect on Michael when he's on the tennis courts. So I use a CC Scatterize effect for this, and basically I increased the amount of scatter when I wanted him to explode, and these are my little markers here. I didn't do any twist on it, and sorry, my computer went a bit weird then. I left the transfer mode as composite, and I transformed it by just making it explode out a bit more, and the positioning as well and the scale of it, and the opacity. I got rid of the opacity so it fades off at the end, which is quite a nice little effect I did. Also add the black bars over the edges again, because as you can see they sort of leak over the edge here, and I wanted to get rid of that so it looked like it's in the shot, not coming out, because it looked a little bit weird. So that's that effect done. It basically, no it's not. I also made a layer around Michael, so it only scatterized Michael, not the background, because if it scatterized the background the entire thing would just be pixels and that would look awful. So it's just Michael, and I put a freeze frame of a different shot without Michael in the frame in the background, so as you can see just behind the particles here it's still a plain tennis court and nothing's been covered up, and that makes it again look really professional. That's what I was going for with this music video, a professional video, and I think these effects bring that touch of professionalism with it. This is the same effect but reverse. Basically what I did with Michael was have the background again, but instead of starting the effect with him there, I'd start him with scatterized, and then I'd bring it in, and basically I use that by transforming the amount of scatter, and other than that everything is exactly the same as the last effect. So again, CC Scatterize and no twists, composite, and that's it really. It's very simple. Once I'd done the other one I knew, but I did mask him again, and that was that. Anyway, the next little thing I want to show you is this effect. I didn't manage to take a screenshot of this one when I was editing it, so I've got this one here, which just says clip from the video. So this is when his hands are covering up the background. I did this, it was a very simple effect, but it was very time consuming. It was made by masks, and I just masked his inside of his hands on this layer, and the background layer is the main layer. So I masked the top layer, subtract the mask from it. So basically it's like I'm cutting out the mask, the video, so you can reveal this image behind it each frame. So do that, go to the next frame, slightly adjust it, slightly tweak it, rescale, reposition, resize, and then again, it's like you're cutting it out every time. So then it gives us this nice smooth effect. So I also increased the feathering around the outside because it stops such a harsh edge each time. Basically, it just sort of blurs the edge, but it makes everything else smoother. That's a really nice effect. I'm really glad that After Effects let me do that because it looks so much more professional, because the edges, you can't tell where the mask begins and ends, and that's down to the feathering. And that's all the effects. I hope you understand what I've done now, or it's just a little bit clearer, or if you want to learn how to do any of these effects, it might have helped. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.